I've got no choice but to go public with this right now. Share this with everybody you know because we are all in danger. There is a massive effort underway right now, as you know, to completely destroy Donald Trump. The fake news media, which is the entire mainstream media, New York Times, Washington Post, The Atlantic, BuzzFeed, HuffPost, you name it. They have all been fabricating fake news day after day after day to try to destroy Donald Trump. They tried to make sure he couldn't get elected, but he did get elected. He won the election fair and square. So now they're not only trying to destroy him by the hour, there's a new effort to try to destroy any of his supporters in the popular media. This is the same kind of attacks that are now being waged against Sean Hannity, against Milo Yiannopoulos, against Michael Savage, against Rush Limbaugh. Well, that's been going on for decades. But the attacks are now going against Alex Jones and against me personally. And I believe I'm being targeted because I'm the publisher of Trump.news, which is now reaching almost 1 million unique visitors a month. The traffic has just exploded on Trump.news, and we are providing real, honest coverage of the Donald Trump presidency, not the fake news that the left-wing media is covering. So I have been threatened and warned that, and this has just happened recently, if I do not destroy Alex Jones, that the media will destroy me. So let me repeat that in case you didn't catch that. I am now being directly threatened in a rather malicious way that I'll get to in a minute, that if I do not destroy Alex Jones, they will destroy me with, I guess, a barrage of hit pieces and made up lies and slander and everything they can think of. And of course, they have double motivation because I'm also in favor of halting the poisoning of children with mercury in vaccines. You know, I'm pro protecting children. I'm opposed to third trimester abortions and the organ harvesting of babies, the murder of babies. Yeah, I'm opposed to murdering babies. You know, that makes you an enemy of the left today, by the way. I'm in favor of upholding the law. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment. I'm a concealed carry weapons holder. I'm a long-range target shooter. You know, I believe in self-reliance. All of these things that the left absolutely hates. I support gay conservatives like Milo Yiannopoulos. They can't stand that. I'm a scientist. I run a science lab, and I'm exposing the mercury in vaccines. I'm exposing, you know, the contamination in the food supply. The left can't stand that. So they have to try to destroy people. So now they're saying if I don't destroy Alex Jones, they're going to destroy me. Now, you might ask a question, why do they think that I can destroy Alex Jones? And for the first time, I'm going to go public and tell you why they think that is, but they're also wrong. It's because a little over 3 years ago, one day, a thumb drive came into my possession through a route that I'm not going to disclose unless I'm talking to the FBI, which I may end up talking to the FBI to file a report about all of this harassment that's going on. I think there's a lot of criminality, and I'd like to work with the Department of Justice to find out who's doing this, this intimidation campaign, these almost, it's come down to, threats and almost blackmail, because somebody gave me a thumb drive back in 2013. And this thumb drive, which I have since destroyed, by the way, because I don't want to be any part of this. This thumb drive came to me, and it contained, I'll just say files. It contained files, and that's all I'm going to say about it. And it came with a threat at that time. And that threat said, essentially, if you don't publish these files, then we're going to destroy your credibility in the Alex Jones universe or the conservative media or what have you. And I refused to publish those files. And I held on to them, though, for a while, but I destroyed them many, many months ago. Because, again, I didn't want to be part of this. But these files came to me personally. They showed up at a location where they knew I would find the thumb drive. There's no record in an email. There's no postal mail. There's no shipment, nothing. It was physical, this thumb drive. And so what I've learned since then, well, no, let me add this. Then another offer came to me through another contact in the alt media, the independent media. An offer came to me that they would pay me $50,000 to go public with accusations that would destroy Alex Jones. And I told them not just no, but I told them, hell no. Hell no. You're not gonna pay me money to try to destroy someone else out there who's a very powerful voice of resistance against the globalists and against the global elitists and the pedophiles and just all the evil that's in the world. Hell no. Keep your $50,000. Don't want your money. I heard that this offer was made to other people. And it is interesting to me that in the last few weeks, there has now been an ex-InfoWars employee that has, I guess, started to go public with accusations in the liberal media, no less. So I know that there are efforts that are being made out there to try to target independent media leaders, to try to turn them against each other. I also happen to know that there have been infiltration attempts of the InfoWars operation as well as the Natural News operation. Now, I don't know how much they've succeeded over at InfoWars. I know from time to time, you have an operation that big, you're going to get attempted infiltrators, and you try to clean them out as fast as you can. I know that nobody has successfully infiltrated Natural News. I can tell you that because we have a unique structure. I'll just put it that way. But there are efforts underway for sure to infiltrate InfoWars and to try to destroy it from within. I know that is going on. Alex Jones has talked about it publicly, that's going on, and you just do the best you can to try to stop that. But now the new threat that has come my way is very simply, destroy Alex Jones or we will destroy you. Now, who is we? Who is making these threats? I wish I could tell you I knew exactly who it was, because if I knew exactly, I would call my contacts at the FBI, and I would file, and I may figure this out before long, and we may expose these criminals for what they are. But I suspect that it is the Media Matters organization, the George Soros organization. And you know why? Because I've also begun publishing a website called Soros.news. You see? And where we're exposing the globalist evil agenda of Soros. And so Media Matters, which is of course run by David Brock, has put out a document where they say that their core mission is now disarming right-wing misinformation. And they're going to go after the, quote, proliferation of fake news and propaganda now threatening the country's information ecosystem. Now, remember that the Prop or Not group, which we put out a $10,000 Bitcoin reward to expose their identities, that group named one of my websites or two of my websites as fake news. Now, the entire Prop or Not disinformation campaign was, of course, exposed as utterly false. The real fake news is Washington Post, the fake anti-Trump dossier, or the New York Times citing fake, fabricated, quote, unnamed intelligence officials who can say whatever they want them to say. And I'm on the record saying, Washington Post writers sit around and they do a cognitive circle jerk. They make up stories to each other, and then they pretend that they are the unnamed intelligence sources, and then they just write up whatever they want. It's not news. It's journalistic malpractice at best and treason at worst. And that's why I've said that Donald Trump needs to go after and arrest some of the traitors who are pretending to be journalists, some of those who are actively working to destroy America, to overthrow the government and to destroy the Trump administration. And I hope to see some arrests take place. And again, because I stand up for America, because I stand up for the legitimate president, Donald Trump, and because I stand up for children and I don't want to poison them with mercury, and because I believe in exposing the fraud of the pharmaceutical industry, and conducting real environmental science and so on, because I believe these things, I am being viciously, maliciously targeted. Not just Forbes, which is run by the biotech industry and the pharmaceutical industry. We've already exposed Forbes. One of their writers used to be a previous writer of theirs was a wife beater. We did all the, we hired the private investigators, exposed that guy, and then they fired that guy. And they're just laughably discredited, right? It's not just Forbes. It's all these other organizations are now declaring war. So let me read you more of what this is from this once secret document from Media Matters. Says that what they're going to do, they're going to have serial misinformers, they say, and right-wing propagandists inhabiting everything from social media to the highest levels of government will be exposed and discredited. This is from the report. Toxic alt-right social media-fueled harassment campaigns that silence dissent and poison our national discourse will be punished and halted. Then they go on to talk about this thing called ShareBlue. ShareBlue will take back social media for Democrats. We will delegitimize Donald Trump's presidency by emboldening the opposition. Trump allies, that would be me, will be forced to step down or change course due to news pushed by ShareBlue. And they go on to say that Media Matters will, quote, weaponize our research products to understand and take action against the changing media ecosystem and the extremists seeking to manipulate it. Key alt-right figures, they say, will lose credibility and influence in response to our research and pressure. And then they go on to describe they've got a $13.4 million budget to hire a 34-person research department just to discredit anyone who supports Donald Trump. And so now it's obvious to me how they intend to do this. They must be approaching independent media writers or leaders or publishers across the spectrum and threatening them and saying, if you don't turn on this other person, we're going to expose you. We're going to write a bunch of hit pieces on you. The only way that you can get in our good graces is to attack your colleague or attack some other person out there like an Alex Jones, or I don't know who else. There's a lot of people out there. There's Max Slavo, there's Gerald Celente, there's, Dave Hodges, so many people out there. But this is the game now. They contact you and threaten you and say, you better attack this other person publicly or we're going to destroy you. Now imagine the insanity. This is how the left operates. They're all totally insane. They're delusional and they're insane. It's illogical. Why would I work to destroy someone else out there like Alex Jones to get into the good graces of the Democrats who I know are criminals and racists and bigots and liars and corrupt to the core? Why on earth would I want to be in the good graces of a group as evil as the Democrats? That makes no sense whatsoever. And secondly, even if I agree to do something like that, wouldn't they destroy me next? I mean, come on. I'm not going to sell off my support for Donald Trump. I mean, I'm not going to sell out. You can't just threaten me into silence. And see, that's the left. They're always bullies. That's what they are. They work by threats and intimidation, and they try to silence everyone. They use the media to silence everyone. They bully. They're cry bullies. That's where that term comes from. They cry and whine about everything while they're bullying you. And out in UC Berkeley, they try to beat you to death with a baseball bat while screaming, "You're intolerant," to Milo Yiannopoulos. I mean, it's insane. It has come down to just massive insanity. That's what the left is today. And, I can't be silent about that. When I see what's happening in society right now, I know things are headed for a civil war because I see the way that the radical left operates. They are violent. They are mindless. They are psychotic. They are mentally ill. They fabricate false facts, so to speak. They're suffering really from paranoid delusions. They cannot substantively argue with Donald Trump on anything. So all they do is they whip up mass hysteria and violence and riots and everything else. That's their play. And so now I guess they're going to roll out a massive barrage of hit pieces against myself or other people who they see as conservatives, even though I've publicly explained before I'm not a conservative on everything. I mean, I don't fit neatly into the conservative box. You know, I'm in support of gay couples. I'm an environmentalist. I oppose, corporate pollution. I'm opposed to pesticides and herbicides in the food supply. You know, all these things. But they want to just put you in a little box and then say you're the enemy because you support Trump. That's it. They always want to make it. They want to oversimplify the situation so they can demonize you for being a Trump supporter. Well, hell yeah, I'm a Trump supporter. And those people on the left are proving why this country needs Donald Trump. Because he is dismantling the status quo system of corruption and evil and malicious disinformation that has been the mainstream media for so long. And now, for the first time in our history, the mainstream media is finally being overthrown. And it's being overthrown, frankly, by people like me and Alex Jones and Paul Joseph Watson and Sean Hannity and many, many other people out there who are having tremendous success by telling the truth, reaching people, and just saying hell no to the threats and the intimidation and the attacks, just marching forward anyway, just like Donald Trump did. Do you think Trump would be president if he gave up after the first round of attacks? You know, when he said, what did he say very early in his campaign? You know, something about John McCain being a prisoner of war, what have you. Any other Republican candidate would have cratered in that first couple of weeks. But Donald Trump persevered, and he put one foot in front of the other, and he kept marching forward. And he did not allow himself to be taken down by the lies, by the smears, by all the attempts to quote him out of context, which is what they do to everybody. I've seen videos where they chop up Alex Jones's words. They make him say things that he never said. I've covered stories about technology that existed in the late 1990s. This was covered in the Washington Post, where they could fake the voice of anyone. They could make a recording that sounded like anyone saying anything they wanted them to say. They could fake a recording of me or Alex Jones or Donald Trump, for that matter. That technology existed, 17, 18 years ago. And it's obviously even better now. The point is, we do not give in. We do not surrender. That's why we are who we are. That's why we are Americans. And that's why we are defenders of the Constitution, defenders of the Bill of Rights. And that's why we are Trump supporters, because we see the good that he is doing. We see what he's accomplishing. And we see that he is finally bringing it to the fake news media that is nothing but malicious lies and propaganda, deliberate disinformation run by socialists/communists and fascists on the left. There is no greater danger to our society today than the bureaucrats engaged in leftism. They are extremely dangerous, and they must be defeated at every opportunity. And we are defeating them. That's what's fantastic. We won this election. Trump won. And the Democrats still can't come to grip with that. So now they have to just try to go after everybody who supports Trump. You see, this is what it's all coming down to. They're going to try to erode the support for Trump by threatening his supporters. And they actually think that's going to work, because that's what has always worked for them when they were threatening the pathetic, weak-willed, spineless, conservative rhino Republicans in Congress over the last couple of decades, who cave in at the first sign of, oh, you might be a racist if you don't agree with this. Or you can't criticize Obama. His skin color is black. What? That doesn't make any sense. You might be, you're a racist. You disagree with this. Spineless. Donald Trump is standing up to them. And so do Donald Trump supporters. Because we get it. We get it. We cannot stand by idly and allow our country to be overrun by mentally ill, liberal, globalists, fascists, Marxists, communists, whatever part of the spectrum they're on. We will not stand by and allow them to overrun our society and take away our freedoms and take away our history and distort and twist our culture and take away our firearms, for God's sake, take away our liberties. We will not stand by and do that. And that's why I have openly supported Milo Yiannopoulos. I've been a great supporter of him. I gave him the Most Dangerous Faggot of the Year award in 2016. That's the name of his tour, by the way. So he appreciated that, I'm sure. I have supported all those who are fighting against the corruption and against the evil and against the George Soros and the Media Matters groups and the David Brocks and the lies and distortions of the fake news media that's now being exposed each and every day. And I will continue to fight against all of that corruption, all of those lies. And, there's a point, and I reached this point many, many years ago. There's a point where it doesn't matter what they try to do to attack you anymore. I know Alex Jones reached this point many years ago, even before I did. Alex said to me one time, he's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You just keep moving forward. You just keep doing your reporting. You just keep telling the truth, and it doesn't matter what they say about you. And that's and look, Alex has gained a lot more traction since then. And yeah, I don't agree with 100% everything that Alex talks about. So what? I don't agree with everything that Trump talks about. I mean, like, I support Edward Snowden, for example. I support Julian Assange. I support WikiLeaks. I'm all for that kind of disclosure. But Trump, disagrees with me on that point with Edward Snowden. So, we have areas of disagreement. You're not going to have a 100% match with everybody. But the one thing that we all do agree on is that we have to defend and protect this nation against the efforts to subvert it. There is a deliberate effort underway right now to overthrow this nation, and it's being conducted by the left-wing radicals who are lawless, who are violent, mentally ill, filled with hatred and rage and intolerance, and they are represented in the left-wing media. That's why the media no one can stand the left-wing media anymore except those who have been hypnotized by it or indoctrinated to become libtard zombies, you might say. They're the only ones who can even watch Rachel Maddow or Anderson, CIA, Cooper. It's insane. Reality is now defeating the delusions and the fictions of the left. Reality is we have to protect our national borders. Reality is we got to bring the economy back. We want to be a basket of employables. We've got to make some changes here if we're going to bring this country back from the brink of destruction that Obama deliberately unleashed upon it, because he was a sleeper cell. He was a sleeper cell, anti-American, kind of a quiet domestic terrorist of sorts, and he's running a shadow White House operation right now. Heck, for all I know, he may be behind this. I don't know that for sure, but that's definitely a possibility. The timing of all of this is not a coincidence. So to put all this in perspective, if you hear of attacks against Alex Jones or hit pieces against Paul Joseph Watson or hit pieces against the Health Ranger or any other prominent publisher or content provider, or, against Sean Hannity or just any prominent person who's telling the truth right now, you should know where it's coming from. It is an organized effort. It is an intimidation campaign. Everybody is being threatened. Everybody is being told that if they don't expose someone else, they're going to be destroyed. And it is it's a vast brigade of dark forces that are trying to get us to throw away the victory that we have already seized. We've already won. We are the new media. The old media is dying off, losing subscribers, and their credibility is shot. We have already won. And yet now these malicious operators from the left, they want to, threaten us into voluntarily giving up our victory and turning against each other? We already won. We won the election. We won the White House. The Supreme Court is going to be ours. Neil Gorsuch is going to get in. We've got the Senate. We've got the House. We've got the governorships. And more importantly, we have the people on our side. The informed people, not the zombies out in Collapsifornia. The people interviewed by Mark Dice. You want to see some zombies? Go look at Mark Dice's videos. Incredible. But real America is on our side. Real America knows that it's time to stand up and claim the future for our nation, for our children, for our people. And, the left wants to overrun our country with terrorists and refugees and illegal aliens. They want to overrun our country. They want to drop the borders. They want to have anybody walking in, collecting welfare and voting in the elections. They literally want no borders. They want to ignore the law whenever it's convenient for them. They've got sanctuary cities. It's insane. They want a lawless but politically obedient society. Social engineering at its worst, with all the political correctness, mind control, language control, thought control, all of that. It's sick. And I reject it at every level. And there is no chance ever that I will cooperate with those horrific individuals who are running point for the insane, unhinged left. I will never cooperate with you. You can run all the hit pieces against me that you'd like. My audience already knows who I am better than you can, and they won't believe your lies. You can fabricate anything you want. You can make up anything. I actually wrote a story about all the things they're going to make up against Neil Gorsuch. It's like all the fictional propaganda you're going to hear about Neil Gorsuch in advance. So yeah, Neil Gorsuch, he kicks little puppies. He thinks that eating Lucky Charms makes you gay. He's such a racist that when he solves a Rubik's Cube, he only solves the white side first because he says the other colors don't matter. Stuff like that. It was just kind of a comedy piece. But I guess I should write that piece about myself because I guess there's going to be a barrage of hit pieces against all of us who are the leaders of the new media. And especially if we support Trump, and especially if we oppose mercury in vaccines, especially if we oppose toxic GMOs in the food supply. If you stand for truth, if you stand for scientific integrity, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I got a new film coming out called Biosludged. It's going to expose the scientific fraud of the EPA. I've got whistleblower scientists on the record, already interviewed. The edits are already done. They're going to roll that out, the EPA. There should be criminal investigations at the EPA. Probably that film will have some people going to jail. So you can bet that's ruffling some feathers and making some waves. I put out the trailer on that like a week ago. Go to biosludged.com to check that out. I'd almost forgotten to even mention that. You see, it's all these things. When you threaten the corruption of the system, when you threaten to expose the truth, when you stand for real science and you stand for real people and real honest information, you will be viciously attacked. You will be brutalized. You will be maligned. You will be smeared. You will be defamed. Just ask Donald Trump. He said he thought the New York real estate market was vicious. It's nothing compared to the political press. If you play in this realm, not only you have to have thick skin, you got to be able to hold your ground. And you got to you have to be able to avoid being played by these dark illusions, these illusionists on the left who are now trying to get me to destroy Alex Jones. Not going to happen, folks. You're barking up the wrong tree. And I don't know who you're going to get to do that. I don't know how you're going to get anybody to do. Maybe the same information they gave to me on that thumb drive, maybe they gave it to 5 other people. I don't know. Maybe there's somebody out there they can get to go public with whatever. Maybe they can threaten somebody. I'm sure there's somebody who will cave in, but it's not me. Not me. I've been around long enough to know what this game is all about. There is nothing that you can do to make me turn against my principles. Never going to happen. I will die defending my principles before I would ever surrender them and sell out and sell my soul to Satan or evil or whatever you fucktards are on the left. You satanic minions of evil. Not ever going to join your camp. You guys are going to hell. You guys, it's a torture being you. You are malicious destroyers and deceivers. Where at the end of my life, whenever that is, I know that I fought for truth and light and human advancement, and that I was true to my inspirations and my spiritual self, that I did what I knew was right every single day, and I never compromised, and I never sold out, and I never let anybody threaten me into doing something against my principles. That's something to live for. That's something to die for. I've said this on the record before. No matter how long I live or when I go, I already know I've lived a life with purpose. Already know that it's been a life worth living because of all the millions of people that I've touched in a positive way, the lives that I've been able to impact, the flood of positive emails from people of how they reverse their cancers and how their children are healthier now and how they overcame chronic disease and how they gained more self-confidence and awareness, and knowledge, and consciousness, expansion of knowledge. All of these things people tell me constantly. When I was in Dallas recently at a live event, I literally met hundreds of people over a 3-day period in person, shook their hands, took photos with them, hundreds. I don't know, maybe 500 total. I don't know the exact number. It was a lot of people. I almost blew my voice out doing that for 3 days. And they all had amazing stories of healing and rejuvenation and expanded awareness and knowledge. And they had amazing success stories because of their interaction with natural news and with my work. And, I'm not saying that to brag in any way at all. I actually live a pretty simple, humble life day to day. And I rarely go out in public, but when I do, crowds of people that want to connect because they know what is at stake and they feel that personal connection. They know when they hear authenticity and they hear a voice of truth, they recognize it. And they can't be dissuaded from that by disinformation and hit pieces and defamation, slander, all these things that the left-wing media is now rolling out by their own admission, by their own documents. They're going to weaponize their information now. And they're going to go after Alex Jones. And they're going to go after the Health Ranger. And they're going to try to turn us against each other. And they're going to try to destroy every voice that supports Donald Trump. This is all in their blueprint. This is their plan. They openly admit it, and they've got $13 million in funding to try to pull it off. Well, I got news for them. You should have bought gold with that $13 million because you're wasting it on your Oppo research, not going to make a bit of difference. If anything, you're going to make people like Alex Jones and myself more famous. It happens every time. Last time Forbes did a hit piece on me, traffic surged and we had a big surge in our email subscription list. More people found us, were like, wow, we never even heard about you until Forbes attacked you. Now we want to see what you're all about. Because see, even people that read Forbes or watch CNN, most of the time they don't even believe what they're watching. Like CNN could make me even more famous by attacking me, which is why they don't. Or maybe they will, I don't know. But it always backfires on these people because the truth overcomes the deceptions every single time. I mean, for how many years has Alex Jones been being attacked? They've been attacking him year after year after year, hit piece after hit piece after hit piece. Hillary Clinton attacked him by name during the campaign. Said that he claimed that there were no children killed at Sandy Hook. I think actually what he said was that there were crisis actors there, which is true. There were crisis actors there. But it doesn't matter. They viciously attacked him. What was the end result of that? They made him more famous at every stage. They made him more famous. They made his website more successful. Donald Trump even was interviewed on his show. And he now has direct contacts with the White House. That's what the mainstream media did for Alex Jones. They did the same thing for Donald Trump. By attacking Trump, they made him famous. Every time they went out and bashed Trump, his numbers went up in the polls because people knew the attacks were fake. Because people were ready for a voice of truth. People were ready for authenticity and reality. And for somebody who has some balls to stand up and show some courage and do something for America for a change, instead of selling out all our interests to the foreign nations like Obama and Clinton did. You know, every one of these attacks, they keep backfiring. The new media continues to rise. The new media continues to attract new readers, new audience. We're expanding our staff. I know InfoWars is expanding their staff as well. They've hired a bunch of new writers and reporters. Some pretty good ones too, actually. Some really authentic young reporters who are doing some man on the street type of work. You know, Paul Joseph Watson, I'm a fan of his. He does fantastic work as well. But this isn't only about InfoWars. There's so many other organizations as well. There's the Daily Sheeple that's out there. You know, Breitbart. Breitbart has been just viciously attacked constantly because of Steve Bannon, right? Breitbart isn't backing down. And you know they've been threatened behind the scenes, probably worse than we have. And by the way, the deep state, they killed Andrew Breitbart, just so you know. Andrew Breitbart had some very damning video on Barack Obama. He made the mistake of pre-announcing that he had it, that he was going to release it in, I think, 48 hours. They killed him in 24 hours. He was murdered. If you don't realize that, then you don't know the truth about Andrew Breitbart. But I'm sharing all this with you so that you know, so that you really have a sense of the truth in all of this. I'm giving you the inside story of what's actually happening. And also just so that you can give some context to what you see out there when there are hit pieces or internal, like Civil War type of pieces. If you see something inside the independent media industry, like an ex-employee attacking their former, employer, or someone, attacking a colleague or something like that, you should understand that these are not spontaneous things. These are, in essence, provoked. These are forced upon them by probably the Media Matters people, probably the George Soros people. They contact people like they contacted me, and they threaten them. And they say, if you don't expose so-and-so, you are going to be destroyed. This is their tactic. And I bet there's a criminal element behind it. And it would sure be interesting to get this to the Justice Department and actually see about an investigation that could expose some of these people. Who does a good job of that, of exposing all this, is James O'Keefe, Project Veritas. He's been threatened too. You know that, like Luke Rudowski, We Are Change, he's been threatened. All these people have been threatened. Some people have been silenced successfully. But Alex Jones isn't going to be silenced. And I'm not going to be silenced. And so I just want to be on the record here. Watch for attacks in the coming days and weeks. They're going to be rapid pace. It's going to be an artillery barrage of slander and disinformation, just like everything that they use against Milo. And what did Milo do with it? He got a $250,000 advance for a book that has become the #1 best-selling book on Amazon.com. Good job, Milo. See, all these things backfire. They always backfire. They just make people more famous by trying to destroy them. The media attacks on Milo made him famous. It's the protesters and the violence that made him famous. Milo is a creation of the insane attack pieces of the left, in essence. And yeah, he's a very, very entertaining person himself, and very insightful, by the way. Just a hell of a lot of fun to watch. I love watching his speeches on campus. He's great. But they made him successful by attacking him. So it's going to be an interesting ride, folks. As you know, if you've listened to me for very long, I do believe that there is a civil war coming. And I'm on the record many times saying that I hope it doesn't devolve into a kinetic shooting war, but that I believe it will, because the left is so incredibly insane and violent that they will initiate it. And more importantly, the left-wing media will try to stage a false flag shooting that they can blame on the right. They will literally massacre a group of their own people if they can blame it on the right. If they can blame it on Second Amendment people or blame it on Donald Trump. Think about it. If they are the kind of people who will run around the independent media and start threatening and trying to intimidate publishers to turn on each other, what else would they be willing to do? The answer is almost anything. Because they have no ethics. They don't believe in God. They have no religion other than liberalism. They have no boundaries. They don't even believe in boundaries or borders. They're willing to do anything. They believe the ends justify the means as long as the ends support the rise of the Democrats. They are lawless. They are violent. They are mentally deranged. They are unhinged. They are dangerous to society. And that is why I will always oppose them. And that is why they will try to destroy me. Well, you know what? Good luck with that, because it's not going to work. Because the millions of people who follow my work already know who I am, and they already know what kind of person I am. They know that I'm a compassionate person, that I care about humanity, that I want to solve big problems. They know that I support liberty, that I support truth, and that I am outspoken about my beliefs, as every free citizen should be. So get ready, folks. It's going to be very interesting. If you want to follow my work, of course, I'm the publisher of Trump.news. I'm also the publisher of naturalnews.com, which was named as one of the 200 so-called fake news websites, which itself was a fake news slander attempt. It's one of the top websites in the world, but more importantly, I have a network of sites. So Natural News itself isn't just the only site. I currently publish over 100 different content sites on different topics, everything from gender.news to intolerance.news to treason.news, survival.news, whitehouse.news, cdc.news, and on and on and on. Vaccines.news. I publish over 100 websites. I work hard. I put in an honest day's work every day. I try to help make America great again. I try to help people understand the world around them. I make honest money funding the operation by selling superfood, ultra clean, lab verified products through my laboratory, CWC Labs. My online store is called healthrangerstore.com if you want to check it out. I mean, what I am doing is it's a great story of how hard work helps make this world a better place. I mean, selling clean foods and providing information that helps people overcome disease and prevent disease. And I speak out, especially, I try to reach out to the African-American community, tell them how Planned Parenthood is murdering their babies, tell them how the cancer industry is exploiting their pain and suffering for profit, Try to teach them, use vitamin D, and you can prevent almost 80% of all cancers. Solutions are simple. Solutions for this society, for health and abundance and freedom, are very, very simple. And we would have them all already in place if it wasn't for these malicious, mentally ill, sociopathic, left-wing radicals who can only destroy. That's all they know, is how to destroy greatness and destroy prosperity and destroy liberty. That's the left-wing media. They are fake news. They are malicious, they are destroyers, and they will do everything to try to intimidate and silence anyone who supports President Trump. Well, not going to work with me. Donald Trump is my president, and I wish him the best, and I'm going to do my best to help support him over the next 8 years. God willing, if he can stay in the game and I can stay in the game and others can stay in the game, we might actually succeed in overthrowing the globalists, overthrowing the deep state, overthrowing the malicious, lawless left, and actually restoring this country to a place of liberty and freedom and abundance and relative happiness in the world. And that should be our goal. So if you support that goal, then keep checking out my information. It's naturalnews.com. Thanks for listening. Click subscribe to stay plugged in to the Health Ranger Report. If you'd like to help support this video and other videos like this, visit healthrangerstore.com, where everything we sell is laboratory tested for heavy metals and more. You'll find superfoods, storable survival foods, nutritional supplements, and a full line of synthetic chemical-free body soaps, shampoos, and oral care products. Everything we sell is non-GMO, and it's all completely free of chemical sweeteners, artificial colors, hydrogenated oils, and other toxic ingredients that you want to avoid. Find all this and much more at healthrangerstore.com.